In this video, we are going to go ahead and take a look at what HTTPS inspection is. And before we do that, we need to know what is HTTPS. Well, HTTPS is basically combining HTTP and TLS. And we are adding TLS to HTTP, so we are able to provide encryption, data privacy, and also integrity. However, HTTPS traffic has a possible security risk and can hide illegal user activity and malicious traffic because it is encrypted. The hackers can use it, so you won't be able to inspect what's going on. And security gateways cannot inspect HTTPS traffic because it is encrypted, like I said, and that's why hacker might use it so they can hide behind HTTPS. But you can enable the HTTPS inspection feature to let the security gateways create a new TLS connection with the external site or server. Basically, the gateway acts like a proxy server for this HTTPS inspection. And the security gateways are then able to decrypt and inspect HTTPS traffic that uses the new TLS connections. And there are two different types of connection. One is outbound HTTPS inspection, and in outbound HTTPS inspection, it used to protect against malicious traffic that is sent from an internal client to an external site or server. So basically, if you are sitting in your computer and you try to connect to like google.com, that's basically a outbound HTTPS inspection. An inbound HTTPS inspection is to protect internal servers from malicious requests that arrive from the internet or an external network. And the security gateway uses certificates and becomes an intermediary between the client computer and the secure website, basically a proxy. And all data is kept private in HTTPS inspection logs. Only administrators with HTTPS inspection permission can see all the fields in such logs. So more on the outbound connection. The outbound connections are HTTPS connection that arrive from internal client and connect to the internet. So from inside to outside. And the security gateway compares the HTTPS request to the rules in the HTTPS inspection rule base. And if the request does not match any rule, the packet is not HTTPS inspected and not logged. Okay. So if the request matches the HTTPS inspection rule, the security gateway validates the certificate from the server on the internet, and the security gateway validates the certificate using the online certificate status protocol, which stands for OCSP standard. And OCSP is faster and uses much less memory than CRL validation, which is used for certificate validation in releases lower than the Gaia R8010. And for new HTTPS connections to the server, the security gateway creates and uses new certificate. There are two HTTPS connections, one to the internal client and another one to the external server. It can then decrypt and inspect the packets according to the security gateway policy, and the packets are encrypted again and then sent to the destination. So that's just how it basically works. And for the outbound connection, right, the inbound connections, that's when it's coming into our network, right? The inbound connections are HTTPS connections that arrive from an external client. So if somebody from the outside tries to connect to our server, either in the DMZ or the internal network, hopefully you have it in a DMZ, like we have it in this in our topology. And the security gateway compares the HTTPS request to the rules in the HTTPS inspection rule base. If the request does not match any rule, the packet is not HTTPS inspected and not logged. If the request matches, though, an HTTPS inspection rule, then the security gateway uses the certificate for the internal server to create an HTTPS connection with the external client. So basically acting like a proxy. And the security gateway creates a new HTTPS connection with the internal server. And since this security gateway has a secure connection with the external client, it can decrypt the HTTPS traffic so that it can inspect it and see if there is any malicious traffic or malicious code in there, and the decrypted traffic is inspected according to the security policy. And if you find something malicious hiding in HTTPS, then that traffic is going to be stopped. Hello guys, in this video we are going to do a lab on HTTPS inspection. So let's go ahead and do that. I am logged in from this computer in the Smart Console. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to Security Policies, then you want to go to Inspection Settings, and from here you want to go to Gateways. And as you can see, the default inspection, there's the inspection that it is assigned. It is not the inspection that we want. We want to change this to the, if you double click on it, you want to change this to the recommended inspection. And what this is going to do is it's going to go ahead and enable HTTPS inspection for us. And we want to do it on the CheckPoint gateway number 1 because that's where we have our Linux server over here. So that's where we want to, that's why we want to do it on this CheckPoint gateway number 1, this one right here. So therefore, since this server is over here, we want to go ahead and make that or enable HTTPS inspection for inbound traffic coming from the outside into the inside or our DMZ zone. So let's go ahead and press the recommended inspection. Great. So we can go ahead and just close this. So we have the recommended inspection for CheckPoint gateway number 1. Let's go ahead and install this since we have a policy that we need to install. Let's go ahead and press install, publish and install, and that's going to enable HTTPS inspection. And we are going to get another option right here. So let's go ahead and install this, and we are just going to install it for the policy in the gateway number 1. Right, go ahead and install it. And let's just go ahead and give it a couple seconds. And after the policy is installed, you're going to see, let's see, so it was installed. Let's go to, okay, security gateways. Let's go ahead and go into, let's expand this, geo policy. Let's go ahead and go to inspection settings. And let's see, okay, so I forgot to do something. So I need to go into that CheckPoint security gateway number 1. And we need to go ahead and actually configure HTTPS inspection. So let's go ahead and double click on the CheckPoint gateway number 1. And we're going to go to HTTPS inspection. And from go over here is where we need to actually enable this HTTPS inspection. So after you enable that recommended settings for the inspection, then we need to go ahead and create a certificate. If you have one, you can just go ahead and import that, but we are going to create one because we don't have one. So we are going to create one. You can go ahead and name this whatever you want. Let's go ahead and call it www. Let's call it lab.com. You can go ahead and add a key to it so we can secure our certificate. You can go ahead and set it to expire to whatever you want. Let's go ahead and say like another date. Press OK. And what this is going to do is it's just going to create a digital certificate. And if you want to see that digital certificate, you can go ahead and go into view certificate. You can go into details and you can see everything in here. Okay. So after that is done, if you want to export this digital certificate, so you can install it in your group policy, so you can basically send it to every device that you have. So you don't get that when you go to a browser, every time you go to your basically to your website, so you don't get that that the site is not trusted. So you can just deploy this to all of your machines. But since we are not going to do that, you can do it if you want to. We are going to just go ahead and enable HTTPS inspection, and after we do that, we are going to get a message that I have not exported the CA certificate yet, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and continue anyway. Okay, so after that is done, we can go ahead and go to the security gateways or the security policies, and in this security policies, you now see another tab. That's what I was looking for, HTTPS inspection. And here's just it's going to give you another option where you have to, or it's the only option where you can configure your HTTPS inspection policy, and which is by using a smart dashboard. So if you click on that, it's going to open another basically like another window, so you can create your also you can configure your HTTPS inspection policy. So you're going to see over here, and by default there's going to be a policy in there. It is the default policy. You can go ahead and use that, or you can go ahead and create your own one if you want to. So let's go ahead and wait for this to basically load. HTTPS inspection, and there we go. So as you can see, here's a predefined rule, like I said, from any source, destination, internet. So this is now right here a outbound. Here we go, the outbound certificate that we have installed, and this is only installed on, if you expand that, it says that it's installed in the CheckPoint gateway, because that's the only one that has been configured for this. So so this is only an outbound that we have configured. So if you want to go ahead and also do it, let's go ahead and also do it for the gateway number 2, because we are going to test coming from here, and we are going to have that predefined outbound policy. And so it's coming from out here from the inside all the way to this Linux machine over here. So that outbound policy needs to be applied to this one as well. So if you go to the security policies tab, and then you want to go into the inspection settings, and we are going to also enable this for the gateway number 2. So let's go ahead and double click on this. Let's go ahead and do the recommended inspection. Press OK. After it's done, you can go ahead and close that. Then we can go to the gateways and servers, and we can go ahead and double click on the CheckPoint gateways number 2. You can go ahead and go to HTTPS inspection. So we are going to, it looks like we are using the same DIR certificate that we created for the CheckPoint gateway number 1. So if you want to view it, so you can see that it is the same, lab.com. Great. Go ahead and press OK. Let me see if you, sure, if you want to go ahead and install this, I mean, you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. Great. Let's go ahead and press OK. It should be installed already, but just in case. And then you want to go ahead and enable HTTPS inspection. So then this CheckPoint firewall can also appear under the HTTPS policy. So let's go ahead and go to security policies. Let's go ahead to the HTTPS inspection, and that's going to open that HTTPS inspection policy in smart dashboard. I don't know why they just don't add it to just create like another one of this over here for HTTPS inspection. They still have it in smart dashboard. I don't know why. Maybe it's something we can ask CheckPoint, because it does takes a little bit for it to load. And as you can see over here, it is going to open the HTTPS inspection policy, so we can edit and do whatever we want to this policy. So let's go ahead and wait for it, and let's go ahead and go to the HTTPS inspection tab. On over here we have it that where is it installed. We can go ahead and expand this, or just double click on it, or click on the plus button, and just go ahead and select both of them. Press OK. There we go. We are going to use the same outbound certificates for all blades. If you want to go ahead and log this activity, you of course want to log it. You can also send a mail SNMP trap, user alert 2, any of those alerts, but we just want to go ahead and log it. Site category, it doesn't really matter. So to the internet, let's go ahead and destination. Let's see what other destinations they have over here defined for us. So if we can say that going the inside network trusted zone, don't we have a outside? It's not really defined here. So the source, any destination, trusted zone, no. Let's say that if the destination is this Linux device, we can also add that if we want to. Let's see if we say 20.1.1.2. No, that wouldn't be. So let's go ahead and leave it. Let's go ahead and leave it as internet. That should also work. Press OK. We can go ahead and close this. And then if we go ahead and install this policy, so it is updating the data to the server. So let's go ahead and install this policy, since we made some changes, and we need to install this for policy number 1 and also for policy number 2. And then after we do that, we are going to do a test from this Windows device, and we are going to try to get into this Linux machine at 20.1.1.3. Okay, so let's see where it's at. Let's go ahead and install the policy for both of them. And now if we want to take a look at the logs for the HTTPS inspection, what we have to do is we are going to connect from this Windows device 10.1.2.1. It's going to go across the checkpoint gateway number 2. Checkpoint gateway number 2 is going to do the HTTPS inspection for outbound, for the outbound connection. It's going to come in here into this Linux machine, and then it's going to go back in here. And the checkpoint gateway number 2 is going to do that HTTPS inspection. So let's go ahead and do that from this Windows device number 2. So we are going to connect to that Linux machine, which is at 20.1.1.3, because we did that static NAT, that one-to-one mapping of NAT. Let's go ahead and go back to that Windows device. You can see that we get that security certificate. So that's fine. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the logs and see what we get. So logs and monitor, and let's go ahead and refresh it. All right, so here we go. In here, we can see that we have a detect, and also it detected the HTTPS traffic, and it was also inspected, as you can see it over here. So it is inspecting. So if you go ahead and double click on it, you can see more information on it. You can see that since we were using HTTPS, it did that HTTPS inspection to decrypt that traffic to make sure that nothing is hiding behind HTTPS, because remember, HTTPS is encrypted, and therefore this firewall wants to decrypt it to make sure that it is good. And like you saw, it gave us access to it. So then there was nothing behind it, right? There was no hacker trying to get into our connection. So, and the way this works, HTTPS inspection works, is that the Windows device sends that HTTPS, and it's going to go across this firewall. And the firewall, what it does is it's basically stops that connection, and then it creates a new connection between this Linux device and this checkpoint device, and this checkpoint device decrypts the connection. And what it does is it takes a look at the HTTPS packet and all of that to make sure that there is nothing hidden, that there is no hacker trying to attack the Windows device. And then after it makes sure that it's good, it encrypts the traffic and sends it back via HTTPS to this Windows device. So it basically acts like a proxy. So what the communication that we have is that this Windows device communicates with the checkpoint, and the checkpoint communicates with this Linux. It's basically a proxy. In this video, we are going to go over high availability, or HA. And what is HA, or high availability? Well, it describes systems that are dependable enough to operate continuously without failing. And this is because the systems are well tested and sometimes equipped with redundant components. High availability refers to those systems that offer a high level of operation performance and quality over a relevant time period. So in CheckPoint, there is basically two different high availabilities that you can implement. One is with the management server, and another one is with the security gateway. And when you are going to perform high availability for the management server, you can perform two of them. One of them is the multi-domain server high availability, which basically offers multiple multi-domain servers are by default automatically synchronized with each other, and you can connect to any multiple domain server to do domain management tasks. One multiple domain server is designated as the active domain server. Other multi-domain servers are designated as a standby multi-domain servers. And what that means is that we are basically going to have like a cluster of management server, and the management server is what we connect to from the smart console. That's what the management server is. So we can do a multi-domain server high availability, or we can also do a multi-domain server high availability, which is when you have one active and one on standby. If the one that is active goes down, then the one on standby gets activated. And the other one is the domain management server high availability, and this is when multiple domain management servers give active and standby redundancy for domain management. One domain management server for each domain is active. The other fully synchronized domain management server for that domain are on standby. So you can have multiple active and multiple on standbys. In the event that the active domain management server becomes unavailable, you must change one of the standby domain management servers to become active. So that is how we can perform high availability with the management server. It's with a multi-domain server high availability, or with domain management server high availability. Now let's go ahead and move on to the security gateways high availability, and this is basically called the cluster XL. And it's the cluster XL is basically a group of identical checkpoint security gateways connected in such a way that if one fails, another one immediately takes its place. So basically like active and standby, right? And if the cluster XL is basically a software-based load sharing and high availability solution that redistributes network traffic between clusters and redundant security gateways and provides transparent failover between machines in a cluster. Okay, so that is what it basically do. And we have two types of clusters for the security gateway, just like we have for the management server. The first one is the high availability cluster, which ensures that a gateway and the VPN connection redundancy by providing transparent failover to a backup gateway in the event of a failure. And then we have another one, which is the load sharing cluster. And in the load sharing cluster provides reliability and also increases performance as all clusters of the members are active. So load sharing means that all the firewalls or all the security gateways in the cluster are active, and high availability cluster is whenever we have one active and the other one on standby. And if the one that is active becomes unavailable, then the one on standby becomes the active security gateway firewall. And how does this work? The cluster uses a unique physical IP and MAC addresses for the cluster members and a virtual IP address to represent the cluster itself. So virtual IP addresses do not belong to an actual machine interface except in high availability legacy mode. Okay, and cluster provides an infrastructure that ensures that data is not lost due to a failure by ensuring that each cluster member is aware of connections passing through the other members. Passing information about connections and other security gateways states between the cluster member is known as state synchronization. And security gateway cluster can also be built upon OPSEC certified high availability and load sharing products. OPSEC certified clustering products use the same state synchronization infrastructure as Cluster XL. So that is all you need to know about high availability, Cluster XL, and the management server. Hello guys, in this video we are going to go over URL filtering and application control. And there's you can do this two different ways. You can do it straight from the CheckPoint firewall, and you can also do it from the endpoint device. So we're going to take a look at the solution that you can use straight from the firewall. And we use URL filtering and application control blades to basically create a granular policy, what it does is it make rules to allow or block applications and internet sites for individual applications, categories, and risk levels. So you can create a policy and you can add, let's say, gambling sites. If you want to block gambling sites, you can just go ahead and choose a category of gambling sites, or even a category of social media. If you want to block Facebook, Twitter, and all of that, you can do that. You can also do it based on risk levels. So if a site is in high or the risk levels, you can block websites like that as well. And you can we use application control URL filtering, so we can configure rules to limit the available network bandwidth for specified users and groups. And what this does is that we can say that if the bandwidth is slow and somebody's using Facebook, I want you to slow down Facebook and give like voice over IP priority over social media sites, right? And you can also keep your policies updated. So the application database is updated regularly, which helps you make sure that your internet security policy has the newest application and website categories. So every time there is a new social media site, and if you have a social media category, which CheckPoint has, it is going to update that category, right, to add that new site, which goes below the or goes under the social media category. So they regularly are updating the policy, and also if there's a risk level for a website, if it goes up, it is going to update it into your policy. Or if the risk level of a website goes down, then it's going to update those risk levels. And just that's how it does. It just keeps your policy updated, so you have the latest applications, categories, and risk levels in your CheckPoint database. And another thing is that you can communicate with users by using the user check objects, which add flexibility to your filtering and application control, and let the security gateways communicate with users. And then we have the user check, and the user check works with the URL filtering and application control software blades, and lets the security gateway send messages to users about possible non-compliant or dangerous internet browsing. So the user check, basically, if you're accessing a let's say a website that has high risk levels, what this user check does is it lets the user know that the risk level is high for this website, and all that good stuff. And you can also, like I said before, this is a client that is installed on endpoint computers, and this solution over here, where you create the policy and all that, is where you do it from the CheckPoint firewall. Okay, and it sends messages for applications that are not based on internet browsers as well, because when you are using the CheckPoint solution, it is it works better whenever you're browsing, right? Whenever you are internet browsing. But if you want to have a more granular, you want to install the user check, because like it says right here, it sends messages for applications that are not based on internet browsers, such as Skype, iTunes, and all of those applications that you are able to install on your computer. And let's go ahead and take a look at how you are able to enable your filtering and application control. So let's go ahead and go to the CheckPoint firewall, and we are going to go to security policies. Not security policies, I'm sorry. We are going to go to gateways and servers. And if you double click on that CheckPoint firewall that you want to enable URL filtering and application category or application control, you can do it from over here. Application control, URL filtering. You want to press OK. And after you do that, what is going to happen, it is going to activate more blades. And you can see right here, I already activated for the firewall for the checkpoint number 1, and now we just activated for checkpoint number 2, and you can see that we have a couple of active blades, which is URL filtering, and the other one is application control. And after you do that, you're going to go ahead and install the policy, so the changes are pushed to the checkpoint firewall. We are now going to go over threat prevention components, and those components are the IPS, antibot, and antivirus. So let's go ahead and take a look at IPS. And well, IPS is an intrusion prevention system, and this IPS, or intrusion prevention system, analyzes traffic for possible risk to enhance the network security of your organization. And what this does, basically the IPS just adds another line of defense by analyzing traffic contents to check if it is a risk to your network. Like for example, IPS protects against drive-by downloads, where a user can go to a legitimate website and unknowingly download a malware. If this is the case, the IPS is going to be able to stop that. And the way that you enable the IPS software is by going into the Smart Console. Then we go to the gateways and servers, and we are going to double click on the gateway that we want to where we want to enable the IPS. Then you want to go to General, Properties, Network Security tab, and we are going to select IPS. And then after that, we are going to follow these steps in the wizard that opens. We're going to click OK, then click OK again, and then we are going to install the access control policy. Okay, so that's how we do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it after we're done. And there's 3 default IPS protection profiles. And the first one is the Optimize, and the Optimize basically provides excellent protection for common network products and protocols against recent or popular attacks. Recent, that means that the checkpoint is going to be almost daily. It's going to be actualizing your IPS database, so you have the most recent and popular attacks that are occurring. And then we have another one, protection policy, which is the strict. And strict provides a wide coverage for all the products and protocols with impact on the network performance. Or if you just want to do the basic, and this basically provides reliable protection on a range of non-HTTP protocols for servers with minimal impact on your network performance. So if you want to do something in the middle of strict and basic, then you want to do optimize. If you want to be strict, this is going to be an impact on your network, but it is going to guarantee that you're not going to be downloading malware into the server, right? But if you just want to provide some protection, but not all the way up to strict or optimized, then you want to go with the basic. And whenever you're using when the optimized profile is activated, the optimized profile is the one that is activated by default because it gives excellent security with no good gateway performance. So it's not going to impact the gateway performance, and it's not going to, slow down your network. And these are the goals of the optimized profile, which is to apply settings to all the threat prevention software blades, avoid impact on the gateway performance, protect against important threats, and reduce false positive, which is really, really important to have. And let's go ahead and now go into our smart console. We are going to go ahead and enable IPS. I'm going to show you how to do that. So you can go ahead and go to gateways and servers. Then after that, you want to go ahead and double click on the object, on the firewall object that you want to enable this. Then you want to go into you want to check IPS over here. So if you want to do it either just to detect only, detect only means that it is going to detect and it's going to send a message for you so you can stop it manually. But if you want to make the firewall to stop it, then you want to check this one. So let's go ahead and check that one. Press OK, and there we go. So that has been activated now. And you're going to see we're going to get another blade which has been activated, and now it's IPS. And when IPS gets activated, then what you want to do, this is a threat prevention. It should be over here. So there you go. The one that is activated by default. If you go to security policies, and then you want to go to threat prevention and then policy, and you can see the rule number 1, and the action is that it is being the profile that is being activated is the one that it is optimized. If you want to change this, you can go ahead and go to basic, strict, or optimize, but we are going to leave it to optimize just because it's the best. Basically, it's just the best profile, the best IPS profile. Because if you do a basic is not really going to, it's going to be protecting you, but it's not going to be protecting you all the way. Whereas optimize is in the middle of strict, because if you do strict all the way, it's going to take an impact on your network, and it can slow down your connection. So optimize is better because it's in the middle of basic and strict, and it's not going to have an impact on your network, but it's going to be able to stop more than the basic profile. Now we are going to take a look at anti-bots, which is another threat prevention that CheckPoint offers. And a bot is basically a malicious software that can invade your computer. And there are many infection methods. This include opening attachments that exploit a vulnerability and accessing a website that results in a malicious download. And when a bot infects a computer, it basically takes over the computer and neutralizes its antivirus defenses. Bots are difficult to detect since they hide within your computer and change the way they appear to the antivirus software so they can go undetected. And then another way that infects your computer is that by doing the connect and command. Is the connect that it connects to a command and control, or CNC, Center for Instruction for Cyber Criminals. And the cyber criminals are bot hunters and remotely control. It can remotely control it and instruct it to execute illegal activities without your knowledge. And these activities could include to data theft. So it could steal personal information, financial information, intellectual property, and organization. Also can be sending spam to other users. It can also be performing denial of service attacks, and it can do a lot of bandwidth consumption that affects productivity in your network. And this is a really growing cybercrime, and it is really profit-driven industry that uses different tools to meet its goal. And this industry includes cyber criminals, malware operators, tool providers, coders, and affiliate programs. And their products can be easily ordered from online from numerous sites. For example, do-it-yourself malware kits, spam sending, data theft, and denial of service attacks. And organizations are finding it difficult to fight off these attacks because when they take over your computer, it is really hard to detect because, like it says, it can hide within your computer, and it's just really hard to detect. That's why CheckPoint has this anti-bots. And to enable this, we need to go to the gateways and security. Let's go ahead and show you this to you guys. So if we go to gateways and servers, if we double click on the firewall where you want to activate or enable anti-bots, you're going to go ahead and double click on the one that you wanted. You're going to check that anti-bot. If you want to detect only means that it's only going to send you a notification saying that there was a bot detected on your network. But if you wanted to just to do according to the threat policy, to the threat prevention policy, then we just do it like that, because then we could also just set it to detect only, or we can also set it to detect and protect. So let's just go ahead and leave it to according to the threat prevention policy, so we can manually do it ourselves. So then we are going to press OK. Okay, then if you go to security policies, you can just go ahead and do it from here. Let's see what we have. Protection profiles. From Blaze, you can see that we have the IPS, which is the optimized version that we are running. So from here, if you want to go ahead and edit this policy, you can go ahead and edit this policy where you want to. You can see the anti-bot is being enabled, so it is already in this optimized one. Let's see what if the basic has it. So the basic doesn't have the anti-bots, which you don't really want. So you always want to just have the optimized version, and that's going to include the IPS. It's going to include the anti-bot. It's going to include the antivirus as well that we haven't activated. We haven't talked about it. Threat emulation, and it's also going to do the threat extraction. So you want to just go ahead and leave it as optimized. And if you want to edit or see what's going on in this action, you can see what is being what is activate. You can see that we have the activate. So if you go to the IPS, we can see what the IPS is doing. The updates, if you want to go to the anti-bot, you can see that it is set to prevent, right? And you can see it is going to the ask. It is set to the policy anti-bot. So you can go ahead and edit, go to advanced, and just set all of this according to what your company needs are. We are now going to take a look at antivirus in CheckPoint. And the antivirus software Blade inspects connection to the internet and scans file transfers and downloads to the internal network to find and prevent malware attacks. And the software Blade identifies malware in the organization using the threat spec engine and threat cloud repository. And this prevents malware infections from uncommon malicious files types like Word document, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, etc. in real time. And incoming files are classified on the gateway, and the results is then sent to the threat cloud repository for comparison against non-malicious files with almost no impact on performance, which is really key. And it also prevents malware download from the internet by preventing access to sites that are known to be connected to malware. Accessed URLs are checked by the gateway's caching mechanism or sent to the threat cloud. So if they cannot identify if it is a malware or not, what it does is it just sends it to the threat cloud that CheckPoint has, the threat cloud repository, to determine if they are permissible or not. If not, the attempt is stopped before any damage can take place. And the antivirus uses this threat cloud repository to receive binary signature updates and query the repository for URL reputation and antivirus classification. So if they don't have, if they don't have the up-to-date in antivirus protection in CheckPoint and they cannot see if it is malicious or not, it does send it to the threat cloud, and which is able to determine either if it is a malware or not. If it's a malware, it is just going to not allow the user to download it. If it is not a malware, then it's going to allow it to keep that file. And I'm going to show you now how to enable antivirus on the CheckPoint firewall. So let's go ahead and go to the Smart Console. We are going to select any firewall. I've been selecting the CheckPoint gateway number 1, so let's go ahead and keep it like that. So we are going to double click on that object. We are going to go to antivirus, press OK. And there we go, that has been enabled. Now it's going to refresh and we can see another active Blades. So now we have the antivirus, we have the anti-bot, and then we have the IPS. And to take a look at this, you can go to security policies and you can go to the threat prevention policy. And you can see that we're running the optimized profile, and the optimized profile has basically all of those activated. It has the IPS, it has the anti-bot, it has the antivirus, it has the threat remediation, and it also has the threat extraction. So let's go ahead and, if you want to view it, you can go ahead and view it. If you want to edit some stuff, you can go ahead and do that. So you can see the Blades activation. We have all of them that have been enabled. There's some additional activation that needs to be done for the IPS. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do that. So you can see the IPS anti-bots. Then we have the antivirus over here. So you can see when it is going to prevent something, it is going to use the antivirus blocked. If it is going to add something, it is going to use the company policy antivirus, which you can configure to whatever you want. And you can see the protected scope. You can see the protocols that are going to be scanned, basically. HTTPS on any port, HTTP on any port, mail, which SMTP on any port. HTTPS, it is being done by the HTTPS inspection, but if you want it to be done or also be run by the antivirus, you can go ahead and do that from the HTTPS inspection policy. You can configure that from there. For the file types, you can configure the file types how you want. Right now it is checked for the process file types known to contain malware, but if you want to disable or enable more, you can go ahead and do that from here. You can also do a process specific file type families. You can go ahead and configure that. So that's how you enable the antivirus and all that good stuff. So thank you for watching.